Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 9.6 Notes. Today we are talking about piecewise functions. Our learning target today is to be able to graph piecewise functions containing linear, quadratic, absolute value, and square root functions. So let's go ahead and begin. Now, the first thing that we need to know is, well, what's a piecewise function? Well, what that is a function composed of pieces of other functions. Okay, so it's a function composed of pieces of another function. So take a look below. You can tell that we have two different functions in each example. So if we look at number one, example number one, in the blue, that is a absolute value graph. Yeah, that's absolute value. But then in the red, we have a, in the red, we have a square root. All right, now let's look at the next one. In the blue, we have a, that's a quadratic. And in the red, what do we have now? Yeah, it makes the V, so that's a absolute value. And then finally, that last one, example number 3, in the blue, good, it's a parabola, so that means it's a quadratic. And then in the red, we just see a straight line. Yeah, straight line, that's going to be a linear. Okay, so it's a combination of the two. So we're going to graph these. You might be like, whoa, Mr. Grice, this is way hard. No, it's not. You'll be fine. So tips for graphing piecewise functions. We always want to start with the vertex or the initial point and lightly draw each function in a, or not in, with, sorry, a pencil. Erase the piecewise function that is not in the given domain, and then make sure the endpoints of the functions follow the rules of inequalities, okay? And that's only with the endpoints. So here's our reminder of when it's opened and when it's closed, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with this. Okay, hold on. There we go. I was using the wrong document. Anyways, let's take a look at the first one. Okay, so here we go. Here's our, oh, I want to use blue first, sorry. So what I noticed right away is that it's a quadratic, okay? So if you want to write down, it's a quadratic. Is there a reflection? No, so I'm going to draw just a little graph that it's going to be going up. And then I need to know what my vertex is, and that's at the point 3, 2. Okay? That's very, very important. And now there's this, that x is less than 4. So right away, it's the less than symbol, so I know that's going to mean open. And I like to know exactly where that 4 is because that's going to mean something in a little bit. All right. So let's start at 3, 2. 3, 2, here we go. Now we would go up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1. So that's our 1/2 of the graph. Sorry. But now look to see the other part. So there's our graph. And we would go like, okay, here we go. There it is. But that yellow line, that's our limit. okay? That's the domain. We got to pay attention to that. And we're saying I only want it when it's less than 4. All right? So I can't graph all of that. I definitely can't graph that point. And at 4, sorry, I'm coming back with my line, just kind of disappeared on me. At 4 right here, it's open. So I need to make sure that I have an open point, and then I can graph the rest of that. So that is my piece of the quadratic equation right there. All right, now let's look at our next one. Our next one's, what type is that? Yeah, that's a square root. There's no reflection, so it's going to look kind of like that. And our initial point is 4, 5. And on our domain right there, we're going to be closed. So at 4, 5, I can start. I'm closed. It's right on the line, so I can make sure it's closed. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 3. And then we just follow the rules for graphing. And there we go. Now, the last part, find the value of f of 5. Just look at your graph. Okay, so when we're at 5, what's the value? 6. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So, number 2. I like to look at my domain. I can see that it's the same number, so I can go and draw my line at 3. Now, let's pay attention. The first line is linear. Okay, I'm going to do my first one in blue. It's linear. It's positive, so it's going to be going up from left to right. It's going to be going up. And the things I need to know for linears, I need to know my slope, and I need to know my y-intercept. When I get to that point, when I get to my line, I'm going to be closed. All right, so at -6 is where I start. I go up 2 over 3, and I'm closed. I can't go any more to the right because I want it less than that line. So then I just go in the other direction, and then I can draw my line. Now our second graph that we have to put on here, our second function is absolute value. There is no reflection, so it's going to be going up. And then our vertex is the point 4, 1. Okay, so at 4, 1 we start. Remember that it's greater than, so it's going to be open. So 4, 1 I'm starting. When I go to the left, I get to that point right away and it's open. And then I continue the graph in the other direction. And there we go. So we're just kind of looking at pieces of each function. So find the value of f of 0. Well, at f of 0, our graph is at -6. All right, let's look at number 3. Go ahead and flip it over. So what do we have? Well, it's a quadratic. There's no reflection, so it's going to be going up. And the vertex is at 3, -2. Is it going to be open or closed for that first point? For the quadratic, it's going to be open. So let's take a look. At 3, -2, it's where I start, so 3, -2. When I go up 1 over 1, I hit the domain right away, okay? That's our limit, so I have to be open, and then I'm just going to go in the other direction now. I'm going to finish my graph. Okay. What type of graph is on the bottom? What's that function? Good, that's absolute value. Is there a reflection? Nope, not yet. So I'm going to be going up, and then my vertex is at 7, 4. And at 4, the absolute value is going to be closed. So I'm going to 7, 4, up 1 over 1 to the right, and up 1, left 1 to the left. And there we go. Now I cannot put a arrow right there because I want everything to the left. I'm sorry, that is greater. So the absolute value, it stops at 4. Okay, it equals 4, but it stops. Oh, sorry, not there. That was at 5. There we go. So there's our point. All right, so we're finding f of 1. Where is f of 1? At 1, our answer is 2. All right, let's look at 4. So why don't you see if you can graph 4? This is the first time, guys, take a look. This is the first time that there's a break in here, okay? So it's going to be just a little bit different. But let's see if you can just write down the information on each graph. We'll graph them together, okay? But let's see if you can figure out the information. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so there's all the information that I had, and now let's go ahead and start graphing. So my limit for the first one is at 3. So I'm going to kind of draw my little line so I know where I'm at. I start at -4. I need to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and I am open. Okay, I want everything that is less than that, so that's why my graph goes to the left. Okay? Now, it's perfectly legal to have 2 different restrictions right here. So now my next one is at 5. Okay? See how I'm doing it in a different color now? I'm starting at 0, 6, so I got to start all the way up here, and I got to go down 1 over 5, down 1 over 5. Okay? But at this point, I am open. So when I go to that middle one, I'm going to make sure it's open. And I can only have this information that is going to the right. Okay? I don't need that original point. That's why it's very important to pay attention to what the domain restrictions are. Okay? All right, last one, find the value of f of 2. Well, at 2, our answer is 0. All right, number 5. Let's go through this. So the top one, the first one, it's absolute value. But this is the first time we're seeing that there is there's a reflection. So it's going to be going down. Our vertex, -2, -3, and there's our limit. Okay, we are open at 0. Okay, so -2, -3, right here, and since it's reflected, now we're going down, and remember, we're open there. And all I'm doing is following the pattern, guys, and if you forgot the pattern, you need to go back and watch the other notes. Okay? So I see a reflection of a quadratic. So that means we're going to be going down. I'm going to be closed, and that's going to be at 2. And then let's go ahead and graph, which we need the vertex of 4, 1. Okay? So at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and I'm going down 1, over 1, down 3, over 1, and I'm closed there, and then I just complete my pattern. Okay? And if you want to see without the lines, that's what it would look like. At f of -4, go on to 1, 2, 3, there's -4. My answer is -5. All right, number 6, you guys are all on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there you go. Now, if you have any questions or you need extra help, please come find Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra, Unit 9.6 Notes, Day 1. Thanks for watching.